What happens when a simple act of kindness turns into your worst nightmare? When offering someone a free cup of tea leads to 41,000 emails, physical stalking, and a trauma so deep it changes everything about who you are? This is the true story behind Baby Reindeer, Netflix's most disturbing show of 2024. A story so unbelievable that when comedian Richad Gadd first told it on stage, audiences thought it was fiction. But every horrifying detail actually happened to him. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to take you through the complete story of Baby Reindeer, from that first cup of tea to the shocking finale that will leave you questioning everything you think you know about victims, predators, and the dark psychology of trauma. Part 1. It's 2015 in London. Donnie Dunn is a struggling comedian working as a bartender, barely making ends meet. His life is going nowhere. Bombing at open mic nights, living with his ex-girlfriend's mother, and watching his dreams slip away one failed joke at a time. Then she walks in, Martha Scott, crying, wild, claiming to be a successful lawyer but saying she can't afford a cup of tea. Something about her desperation touches Donnie, so he does what any decent person would do. He gives her tea on the house. That single act of kindness unleashes hell. Martha becomes obsessed. She starts showing up at the pub every day, spinning elaborate stories about her wealthy lifestyle that don't add up. She calls Donnie Baby Reindeer, a nickname that seems sweet, but will later reveal something much shadier about her past. The emails start small, a few messages here and there, then dozens, then hundreds. Eventually, Martha sends Donnie 41,071 emails. She follows him home. She shows up at his comedy shows. She finds his Facebook and comments on every single post he's ever made going back years. When Donnie finally Googles her name, he discovers the terrifying truth. Martha is a serial stalker with multiple convictions. She's done this before, she'll do it again. But here's where the story takes its first twisted turn. Despite knowing who Martha really is, despite her escalating behavior becoming more threatening each day, Donnie doesn't report her to police. He doesn't ban her from the pub. Instead, he does something that will haunt him. He accepts her Facebook friend request. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you knew something was wrong, but you couldn't bring yourself to take action? What held you back? Please let me know in the comments. The stalking intensifies. Martha starts targeting the people Donnie cares about. She sends harassing messages to his ex-girlfriend Keely. She follows him home after every shift. And then comes the night that changes everything. Martha corners Donnie on a dark street, pushes him against a wall, and sexually assaults him. The man who showed her kindness has become her prey. But the most disturbing part isn't what Martha does. It's what Donnie does next. Nothing. He freezes. He lets it happen. He goes home and says nothing to anyone. Why? The answer revolves around a secret so dark that Donnie has buried it so deep, even he doesn't fully understand how it's controlling his life. What Donnie doesn't realize is that Martha isn't his first predator. Years before he ever met her, someone else had already broken him in ways that made him the perfect victim. Someone who taught him that saying no wasn't an option. Someone who programmed him to accept abuse as normal. To understand why Donnie can't escape Martha, we need to go back to where his nightmare really began. Part 2, Edinburgh, a few years earlier. Young Donnie is performing at the Fringe Festival, bombing spectacularly night after night. He's ready to give up on comedy entirely when he meets someone who seems like a guardian angel. Darian O'Connor, successful TV writer, charming mentor, everything Donnie dreams of becoming. Darian sees potential in the struggling comedian and offers to help him write a television pilot. Finally, someone believes in Donnie's talent, but Darian's mentorship comes with a price. The working sessions always involve drugs, GHB, LSD, cocaine. Darian claims it's to enhance creativity, to break down barriers. Donnie is young, desperate, and trusting. He takes the drugs. What happens next is systematic sexual abuse. While Donnie is drugged and helpless, Darian rapes him repeatedly over months of weekend sessions. Donnie blacks out most of it, waking up confused and hurt, but never fully remembering what happened. The abuse destroys Donnie's sense of self. His relationship with his girlfriend Keely falls apart. He spirals into dangerous sexual behavior, sleeping with strangers of all genders, desperately trying to understand what's been done to his sexuality and identity. How do you think childhood or early adult trauma shapes the way someone responds to danger later in life? Can being hurt make you more likely to be hurt again? The psychological truth that makes Baby Reindeer so disturbing is that Darian's abuse programmed Donnie to accept Martha's. The man who taught him that his body wasn't his own, that his consent didn't matter, that saying no would end his dreams. He created the perfect victim for Martha to exploit. When Martha stalks him, Donnie's brain recognizes the pattern. Someone more powerful taking what they want from him. Someone whose attention he simultaneously craves and fears. Someone he can't say no to because saying no has always led to abandonment. Donnie tries to build a real relationship with Terry, a transgender therapist he meets on a dating site. But he can't be honest with her about his name, his job, or his past. The shame and confusion from Darian's abuse makes him incapable of genuine intimacy. The stalking escalates. Martha attacks Terry, ripping out chunks of her hair while screaming transphobic slurs. She starts harassing Donnie's parents, accusing his father of being a pedophile. She shows up at his workplace with a bottle, cutting his face when he finally tries to set boundaries. 6 months after the stalking began, Donnie finally walks into a police station. But even then, he can't tell the whole truth. He leaves out the sexual assault, the threats, the worst of Martha's behavior. Because admitting what Martha did to him means admitting what Darian did first, and he's not ready for that truth. But trauma has a way of demanding to be seen. All the pain Donnie has buried, from Darian, from Martha, from years of living in shame, it's building pressure like a volcano about to erupt. When it finally explodes, it happens in the most public way possible. Part 3, the comedy competition finals. This is Donnie's big break, his chance to finally make it as a comedian. He's prepared his best material, practiced his timing, ready to win over the crowd. But when he gets on stage, nothing goes as planned. His jokes fall flat, the audience is silent, and suddenly all the pain he's been carrying for years comes pouring out. Instead of his comedy routine, Donnie breaks down completely. In front of hundreds of strangers, he confesses everything. Martha's stalking, Darian's abuse, his sexual confusion, his shame, his inability to protect the people he loves. The audience sits in stunned silence as this man destroys himself on stage, turning his deepest trauma into raw, honest storytelling. Someone films it. The video goes viral. Overnight, Donnie becomes famous, not for his comedy, but for his pain. The confession that should have ended his career instead launches it. He gets offers, attention, the success he always wanted. But success built on trauma comes with a price. Martha is finally arrested and sentenced to prison. Donnie's parents embrace him when he comes out to them. His father even reveals his own history of sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. For a moment, it seems like healing is possible. But then Donnie makes a choice that reveals how deep his damage really goes. Instead of confronting Darian, instead of reporting his abuser, Donnie goes to him. And when Darian, who has seen the viral video, Yes Sonny, offers him a job writing for television, Donnie accepts. The man who destroyed his life becomes his boss. Do you think it's possible for someone to be so damaged by trauma that they actually seek out the people who hurt them? What would drive someone to make that choice? The final scene of Baby Reindeer is devastating in its symbolism. Donnie sits in a bar listening to Martha's old voicemails, crying as she explains why she called him Baby Reindeer. Because he reminded her of a stuffed animal she hugged as a child when her parents fought. He orders a drink but realizes he's forgotten his wallet. The bartender, seeing his distress, gives him the drink for free. "It's on me," the bartender says, the exact words Donnie used with Martha years ago. The cycle begins again. Baby Reindeer isn't just a story about stalking. It's a story about how trauma creates more trauma, how abuse survivors can become vulnerable to more abuse, and how the line between victim and perpetrator isn't always as clear as we'd like to believe. Richad Gadd's courage in telling this story has sparked conversations about male sexual assault, the complexity of trauma responses, and the ways that unhealed wounds can poison every relationship we try to build. But maybe the most important question Baby Reindeer asks is this: when hurt people keep hurting people, how do we break the cycle? If this story affected you the way it affected millions of viewers worldwide, do you think Donnie is a victim, an enabler, or something more complicated? Let me know in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else understand their own story.